What's up, everybody? This is eSports Machina, and today I'm going to be talking about esports content creation. And initially, I thought I would just make a bit of an updated video on tell why I haven't done videos in a while and all that. But then I thought maybe I should kind of address the big elephant on the room. And I should probably start by defining who do I view as esports content creators exactly in this specific context, obviously. So this would be people who are not under contracts to do video content for esports personalities or teams or organizations, and people who are not being paid to write stuff. So essentially people who do content independently on YouTube and people who write at their own blogs, or maybe they are guest writers or trial writers at these sites, but they're not really getting paid anything except maybe that small ad revenue. So when you look at from the YouTube perspective, so at esports content creators, and the biggest content creator right now on YouTube is Thorin. He has around 240k subscribers, and the other three who are biggest after him are like chime. He has like 30k. Then you have obviously our favorite reporter Richard Lewis, but he does bit mixed content. He's around 90k, and the last one is Monte Cristo, and these four are pretty much the biggest esports content creators, and Monty has like 70k. So these are pretty much like the biggest esports content creators right now. But when you start to go down from that top four, you actually go into very incredibly low numbers. And I'm not talking about like the VOD channels or LOL esports or Yahoo esports or GameSpot, because these have paid production, obviously. They have like cameramans, they have people who pay them, they have whole crews working on these videos. And when you have awesome resources and when you have access to like interviewing people in esports, this can give you a significant edge against like the independent creators in esports, which I'm trying to kind of talk about here. And it's just not really about people who came first and have established themselves. And in case of the four that I mentioned, these are people who have been around for some time and have been, working as freelancers and many different things. And when they transferred into YouTube, a lot of that fan base kind of transferred with them, and they got a lot of like initial follower base already from that. And the main core issue is not really necessarily with these low subscriber content creators such as I am, with the quality of content. I mean, some people can definitely make the point that my content is shit. If they feel like that after watching my content, that's like a valid argument to be had. But the problem is you have quite a lot of these seen, especially in esports subreddit. I've seen a lot of people post their own talk shows about esports. Sometimes you have analysts and coaches from these a bit smaller League of Legends regions, and then I have seen even like Dota ones and CSGO ones. And these people, sometimes they don't even have a layout, and sometimes the audio is kind of poor. And these guys have like less than 50 subs, like really, really low sub amounts. And maybe the content could be definitely better in their case, and definitely in my case too, the content could be better. I mean, I still have like the logos, I have the bit of branding there, I have the layouts, I have the intros and all that, and the audio quality is pretty good too. But I mean, I'm still working on like my scripts and stuff like that, and expertise obviously. But there has been this sort of a mentality that I've seen that people don't seem to give a fuck when random people give their opinions about esports in general. And this stems down to also into the writing thing, where there's a writer that nobody knows about. Nobody's going to give a fuck about his opinion or the article at all if he's not a big name. And that really stems down to these content creators in YouTube too. Like, there's been cases where many people have done a video about a certain subject. Franchising about in the League of Legends, let's take that one for example. I made a video about it, a lot of people made a video about it, but people only really care about what the big people said about it. even though their opinion might have been wrong. But it's not really wrong opinions, or maybe they didn't even articulate it really, really well in their videos, and maybe they don't look at it from other perspectives that maybe some of these smaller content creators may have given in certain times. And maybe even I have sometimes done that. Not every video is like full of like unique ideas or anything like that, but sometimes I've done that. And the problem that I've faced, and I've seen that a lot of other people facing, the people who are even below me and people who have more subs than me, it just seems that nobody is subscribing to these small content creators at all. And this just to be the general like consensus that because these people are not somebody who work at esports, their opinion doesn't matter. If they're not pro, if they're not analysts, or if they're not like a writer who's getting paid, or if they're not the top website, their opinion doesn't matter at all. And that's a big problem because you don't really see a lot of upcoming esports content creators like rising up. And then, I mean, esports in a nutshell, Mark Register, I mean, he's a great guy. I've talked to him, and he kind of started from the ground level, and now he's done like a lot of cool stuff, and he's been consistent and all that. And he, you know, I mean, he had a bit of like an experience from like producing before, though, obviously, but he made it out. But he's like a bit of a unique case in this context, where he's really like the only one who had really break it out essentially in the scene by just being an outsider and just being really, really good at the content creating, and then just essentially got a job at esports. And I'm not making the argument that everybody should be getting paid, everybody should getting like these sponsorship deals, and everybody should be hired by these big companies. I'm not arguing for that, but I'm arguing that there's a low appreciation for content that is not done by the known talent, so to speak. And people could make the argument here, well, why should we care about what some scrub says? And sometimes, yeah, that's a valid argument. And usually there's a lot of these content creators who are not really great, to be honest, from production value, or the opinions are maybe not well, articulated, or maybe they have not done proper cutting on the video. There's like spacing and maybe too long videos. Could be anything, really. But in other types of content in YouTube especially, whatever it's gaming, whatever it's music, whatever it's, I guess, reviews for movies or TV, you have constantly upcoming talent in all of these categories, where you have somebody who does content really, really good, and then they get like following because of that. And you don't see that actually in esports. This is like the only exclusive area right now. I can't really like force people to like people like me or other smaller content creators who are doing these talk shows and stuff like that. But I do see a bit of a worrying trend where it's just very top heavy right now. And I think esports could, I don't want to make that how esports could grow if everybody would make it in. I'm not making that argument, but I think for the long term, it could be much better if you have like more content creators, because then it means that when there's a discussion about something that is really important in the industry, such as this franchising stuff or player rights or player unions, you want to have many people as possible chiming in on that matter. I'm not talking about 1,000 people, but it would be nice to have actually, at least like 5 differing opinions, because there's like a chance that when Monty or Thorin makes a video about, or Richard Lewis make a video about some of these subjects, all those 3 may agree on every single point. And then if there was people who were on other side of the opinion on the matter, you would not hear those people, because those people have no following whatsoever. So I'm not going to make this video any longer, because people are not going to watch it, because I got a low subscriber count. So I mean, that just kind of plays into that. Like, nobody's going to care. Most people didn't make it out this far in the video. But this is just a discussion, and I want to discuss with like creators, but also people who are subscribers, who are maybe subscribed to the 4 people that I mentioned, or other good channels that I may have not mentioned here. And why exactly these content for these smaller YouTubers right now who are doing esports content like talk shows and stuff like that, why these are not good enough for you, why these guys are not good enough to be subscribed. I mean, give some constructive criticism, how to improve, what kind of content you want to see. So, I mean, that's something also, like, is there a demand for more analytical content? You know, do we need more VOD reviews, or do we need some, like, fun stuff, like comedy, satire, or some high production value, or interviews? It could be anything. So I'm just kind of curious what people are really wanting to see in esports right now, and how the content creators could fill into that void. I mean, I'm not saying that it's really like saturated, but I mean, a lot of the content seems to be like analytical talk, and that's what I do for the most part too. I've experimented a bit with too, like the esports ethos, which is a bit more like a story piece. Might do that more often. Obviously, it's one of my most successful video, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna make the video any longer. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I empathize with all those small YouTubers and writers out there who have been being small for a very long time and really trying to break through on the market, but maybe the audience is kind of holding them back, or maybe they need to improve. It could be either one or a combination of two. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time, hopefully, and not to have to wait so long as from the last video. Cheers.